What is up guys, Andy Forest Team Runner here, back with another video for you today, and today we're going to be diving into the training plan that I'm going to be following in this mini block of training, 6 weeks to be precise, leading up to the 2 upcoming half marathons that we have. Today I want to share everything with you, go through it all, how I've put the plan together and what workouts I'm going to be doing to hopefully get myself in the best shape possible. So if you're excited for today's video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and without further ado, let's dive in. So just before we dive into the nitty-gritty of the training plan, please know I am not a running coach. This has not been put together by a running coach. This has purely been cobbled together by myself, for myself. If you wish to draw inspiration from this, I'm happy to answer any questions down below, and I would love to hear your comments, as I said earlier. However, I will just like to say that I will not be dishing out running training plan advice because that's not my forte. This has been put together based on the knowledge that I have over the 5 and a bit years I've been running, and using some tried and tested workouts that I have found over the past have been great for my half marathon training. So 2 things that I want you to be aware of when I'm about to discuss this training plan. Number 1, normally with any plan that I might put together for myself, I will always incorporate down weeks, which means lower mileage weeks. However, this is not the case because, well, you'll see in a minute, we have only 6 weeks and we have a race at the end of week 2 and week 6. So interestingly, the race at the end of week 2 is purely going to be a benchmark to see where we are. Then we're going to do 3 hard weeks, and then an easier week for week number 6. So there'll be no down weeks. However, if I was putting together a longer plan, there would be. And secondly, there will be no mileage progression. As a lot of you know, and if you've been following the channel for a while, my work has gone absolutely mad and life has gone mad at the moment, and I'm really struggling to commit to any form of plan in itself. So this is an ambitious goal to even try and attempt to stick to this thing. However, I'm doing my best, and most weeks I'm able to get out for what I can. However, the times are very sporadic, there's no pattern to them, and it's just doing what I can when I can. Therefore, there will not be any mileage increases. It won't go from like 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 back down or anything like that. All I'm going to say to you is I'm going to be aiming for a minimum of 50 miles a week, and we'll see where we go from there. So with all that out of the way, let's jump into how we put this thing together. Okay guys, so just very quickly, a massive credit to Ben Barrows, a fellow YouTuber, an absolutely fantastic YouTuber. He's done videos like this before where he talks about his training plans, and I really enjoy the format in which he does it. He puts the training plan up on screen and he talks to the camera, so you can really see. I really engage with that because I can watch what he's saying and follow along what he's doing with his plan. So I'm hoping to do something similar today. Hopefully you'll like it. As I said, give it a thumbs up if you do, thumbs down of course if you don't. That's absolutely fine. So full credit goes to Ben on this. So as you can see in the very first screen, I have mapped out the plan. I've got the dates there. I've got the days of the week, and of course I've put in the races that we have coming up. Now, as some of you eagle-eyed viewers will notice, the plan doesn't start until the 12th of August. That is because I'm away on holiday next week, so I probably will not be doing many videos next week. I'll be on holiday, trying to switch off from work and enjoying myself while I can before coming back to the absolute madness that is the work. So we will be kick-starting then. However, that means that this week that I'm running now, I'm still shooting for 50 miles this week if I can, or as close to, and I will be doing some half marathon based workouts to try and get myself tuned up, ready for the 12th of August, the week commencing the 12th. Now, as you will know, I've been doing 9 weeks of 10k training, so I've got all the speed work under my belt. I'm now looking with this plan to kick on and do some speed, some speed endurance, some threshold and tempo work in particular. Normally with a longer half marathon plan, I would have some intervals, shorter, sharper intervals in the beginning of the plan, but I don't need that because I've done this all. These 6 weeks now coming up are purely going to be based on working on that speed endurance threshold work and just being able to hold as quick a pace for as long as possible. So despite the mad rush of work, there is always some constants with my running, and that is of course when my easy runs and long runs take place. I will always do my best to run easy on a Monday and a Wednesday and get my long run done on a Saturday. Those are just the days that work for me. I always try my best to save my workouts for a Tuesday and a Thursday. I have of recent been experimenting with a Monday and a Thursday workout, and although I find that works really, really well because my legs are much fresher for Thursday than if I do the workout on Tuesday, however, it's just struggling to work with me at the moment for work. Mondays are just a mad day, and so there's no point in even trying to go down that route. So we're reverting back, as we have done for most of my running career, shall we say, where I'll be working out Tuesday and Thursday. So as you can see, I have simply put in easy. I haven't specified mileage. That will be a case of, right, today I've got 45 minutes, today I've got an hour, today I've got 2 hours, and just go out and run easy. And by easy, I will be still working based on heart rate, so I'll be doing my best to keep my easy runs 135 beats a minute and lower, just very much keeping it in the solid 130s and hopefully lower. So that's going to be my Mondays and Wednesdays. And then of course on the weekends, again, I'm being very loose about this and very woolly with descriptions, but those will be my long runs, and I will be taking those up to a relatively decent distance, 16, 18, maybe even 20 miles. And some of you might go, that's way too much for a half marathon. And you are right, it is. However, I'm trying to have a bit of foresight here that I potentially have a marathon coming up in October, if not a trail marathon in November, depending on what I decide to do. And if I decide after the Swindon half marathon on the 22nd of September that I want to do that October marathon, although I'm not going to be in tip-top shape and I won't have trained specifically for it, at least I will have had some long runs that have built up to a relatively decent standard. But that is for another chat. So my long runs are going to be on a Saturday, and there is a potential that if I feel good, I will turn those into long run workouts. And those will probably be just a case of kicking on at a certain pace, either some simple fartlek or interval sessions done there, very basic stuff. But if not, I'm just going to kick back, take it easy and run easy on those long runs. So we've got the fundamentals in there. Now for the exciting part, now for the workouts. Right guys, so now we dive into the juicy bits. Now there are some considerations you need to do or think about when you're putting together a plan. As I said, I'm not a coach, so this is not running training plan advice, but this is something I've learned over time, that within a plan you need to make sure that your intervals and your workouts and your thresholds, they're all threshold sessions, they're all progressing. So obviously you don't want it to just be going out and going, right, today I feel like doing 8 by 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off, and the next week, maybe I'll just do 4 of them, and the week after I'll try 12, and then the week after, I'll just do 6. There's got to be some kind of structure there, some kind of progression. So although we're not looking to do mileage progression, we are making sure that those workouts get tougher and tougher. And I want to peak, if you can peak in a 6-week mini block in week number 4 and have an easier week 5 and week 6. Week 5 is not going to be easy by any means, but I want to make sure the bulk of the work is done by week 4. The best performance I've ever run in a half marathon, despite it not being my PB, was indeed the Severn Bridge half marathon last year when I had a 2-week taper. 2-week tapers feel a little bit long for a half marathon, but I did it inadvertently because I was on holiday, and it worked phenomenally. I was so fresh, and I just want to make sure that I'm going to be in as good and tip-top condition as possible. Now, all the workouts on here I have done before. My eyes are just going to divert to my computer screen, so if I'm not looking at you, I do apologise, but I've just got to read what I've been doing. So I'm going to be having a week 1 where I'm going to be doing 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off. That's something I started this week, just making those intervals a bit longer. So as you know, with the 10K training, I've been doing 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off. Now we're progressing up to 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off. I did 8 of those on Tuesday night this week. It was tough, but we felt good. We got all paces under 5:40, which was fantastic. And then we're going to start on with the mile reps. So the mile repeats are coming back in. Love those things. They are tough. They are grueling, but it should be good. And that's going to be a great week 1 because that's just going to kind of set me up for the second week, which is going to be a very easy week due to the fact that we have the Severn Bridge half marathon on the Sunday. Week number 2, always on race week. I never do a workout on the Thursday, but something I picked up from working with Coach Doug was that Thursday is great to do an easy run with some surges or some strides, so that's exactly what I'll be doing. And he also implemented a 10-minute shakeout run before the race, which I said to him in the beginning I wasn't keen of, but actually I really enjoy doing that now. I feel the benefits of just getting out the day before, so I'll continue to do that. And on the Tuesday, I always, or have been in the past, doing simple 4 by 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off, or half mile repeats, whatever they are. And just 4 of them, 2 miles worth of work, 12 minutes, nice and simple, nice and easy, enough to keep the legs turning over, but not too much to get tired. We then jump into 3 really hard weeks, but the next 2 are going to really ramp up. And we're really looking at doing a workout I haven't done in over a year, which is 2 miles at threshold with 2 minutes rest, then 2 by 1 mile repeats. with 1 minute rest in between, and then back to a 2 mile threshold repeat. So that's 6 miles, and that's effectively breaking up where we did in week 1 5 by a mile. We're now effectively doing 6 miles rather than 5, but we're breaking up into different chunks, working different stimuluses, still working on the threshold, but trying to teach our body to go from running at 2 miles solid to then quickly, let's chop and change to do 2 by 1 mile and then another 2 miles at the end. So really got to kick on at the end there. That's a toughie. Not looking forward to that. And then of course we've got the 1 kilometre repeat. So we're going to be doing 8 of them. So that's going to be really, really hard. And then of course the long run on the weekend. I should think that long run will be kept easy because that will be a tough week. And then we move on to week 4, which is going to be really, really brutal. For me, although we start off with, I say an easier, a tempo run, the Thursday session is not looking favourable. It is going to be evil, but the tempo run is going to be done around tempo runs are meant to be done just below your threshold heart rate, so I'm going to be shooting for around 165 BPM, and we'll see where that leaves me, doing that for 20 minutes, and then to finish off, to keep the legs turning over and work on that cadence, 4 by 200 meters. So that'll be a great Tuesday session. I'm looking forward to that one. And then the dreaded 7 by a mile. Again, I've only done that one a couple of times, but that is the pinnacle of half marathon training. That for me is tough, it's hard, and I will probably end up, I'm either going to do that on the concrete to really test my fitness, or I'll do my best to find the flattest trail and do those. So that's going to be the peak week as such, the really tough week. We then roll into week number 5, tuning things down a little bit, 5 by 1 mile repeats. That should feel a doddle after doing 7 of them the week before. And then back to 8 by 1 kilometre repeats on that Thursday. And that's going to be the last big session. What is that? 9-10 days out from the goal race, which is great. I never do any heavier sessions, anything under 10 days from the big race, whatever I want to do. And then we'll have a long run, which will be of shorter duration. Probably that one will just be 12-13 miles. Very nice and easy casual pace. Rolling into week 6, the final week, and we'll be mirroring what we've done in week number 2, which is simply 4 by 3 minutes on and 2 minutes off. And then on the Thursday, easy run with strides. Saturday, 10-minute shakeout, and then the race. So as you can see, we've got a nice block there of the 3 weeks in between the 2 races, which are going to be challenging, going to be tough. It's going to be interesting to see what we can do leading up to these races. But before I wrap this up, let me just tell you the thoughts and the progression of the workouts. Okay, so hopefully the progression is pretty self-explanatory, but if not, I'm going to read it out now to you from my piece of paper. So in week number 1, we're going to be spending 24 minutes of time working on intervals, and then in the threshold zone, if we base it on 6 minute per mile flat for the mile repeats, which I'm hoping to be more like 5:45 or 5:50, but for round numbers sake, it's just easier for me to work it out at 6 minute flat. We're going to be spending roughly 30 minutes in the threshold zone, so that's 24 for intervals and 30 for threshold. Week number 2 is purely going to be 12 minutes worth of intervals, nothing crazy. Week number 3, we roll on and we progress from 24 minutes in the interval zone, which we did in week 1, to 28, so we're increasing nicely there. In the threshold zone, we should be doing 36 minutes as opposed to 30, so a good increase there, again based on averaging 6 minutes per mile. Week number 4, where we really hit it hard, the tempo zone that we're going to be running into, that would be my zone 3 or 4, is obviously 20 minutes and then some short, sharp 200 meters after that. But the threshold zone, we're going up from 36 minutes to 42, roughly based on 6 minutes per mile mile repeats. So that's a great progression there of the threshold zone, as you can see. And then we wheel it back down the week after. In week number 5, we're back into 30 minutes for the threshold zone. So we've gone 30, 36, 42, back to 30, and intervals we're at 28. So with the intervals we've gone 24, 28, 28. So that's fine, happy with that. And then in week number 6, the final week, we're just back down to 12 for the intervals. So you can see there, I have planned and mapped out the progression of the workouts to make sure we really, really work on those zones. And ultimately the threshold zone is what I want to be working on to build that speed endurance and to be able to run as fast as I can for as long as I can leading up to these races. So that's it, guys. That's the mini block of training I'm going to be doing. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was useful. If it was, please do let me know below. I'd love to know if you enjoyed this video. I had some great feedback recently on the video where I asked for your feedback, and a lot of you said you love everything that I do on the channel, which I really appreciate it because I love doing the diversity, and this is just another string to the bow of doing training type of videos, training plans, and the first time that I've really shared a plan in this level of detail. So as I said, if you enjoyed it, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, and of course do consider subscribing to the channel if you are new here, and I will see you next time. Until then.